3 years ago, the community brought makahiki here to the grassy fields of Lehia to utilize the open space. It used to be at Puhibe, Kulapai, but at that time, Department of Hawaiian Homelands added regulations and stipulations to usage of their community spaces. So we reached out to county, and county offered the space at Lehia for our community event for makahiki. And then 2 years ago, our family started a nonprofit for our father titled Keli'i William Ioane Legacy Foundation. And the foundation signed its MOU agreement with County and Parks this year. And so that gives us the responsibility of caretaking the space of Lehia to use for community events, specifically for makahiki and for educational purposes. And so last year was our second year of holding makahiki here at Lehia. We rededicated the ahu. Uncle Hana Viritua rebuilt it. And so we had our first ceremony with the ahu in November of 2021. And so we are going to be working with the community from here on out with utilizing this space. One of the programs that the foundation is working on is how to orient the community to proper uses of the ahu. And so how do we train our community in approaching the ahu, and how do we train our community in properly communicating with their spaces. Another project that we're working on with our community is the use of this massive how grove you see behind me. And so it's a large how grove. And so the community will be holding workshops of how to harvest and prepare how cordage, and then how to work or show the community different ways to use how, either at home or in arts and craft, or to just reconnect to traditional practices. In addition, the foundation will be hosting educational outreaches here. It was going to be Lehia, this grassy field will now be the home site for the Keli'i William Ioane Legacy Foundation. And we will be doing our community outreaches here from the site. Makahiki is a seasonal cultural festivity for the Po'e Hawaii. In 1981, my father, Keli'i Skippy Ioane, participated in the resurgence of makahiki ceremony on the island of Kaho'olawe. When Uncle Emmett Aluli won the court case, the military had to provide religious access to the Native Hawaiian po'e to be able to return to the island of Kaho'olawe for their religious ceremonies. In preparation for the makahiki ceremonies, the foundation will be holding monthly workshops to prepare community members to participate in Lonoika makahiki ceremonies, which includes a chant composed by Antinalani Kanakaole and a Lono dance composed by myself. And so we reach out to community and to encourage them, to come out of their comfort zones and participate in learning ceremony. Last year, we worked with County Council member Suli Loy from Hilo and 2 members of her team or her cabinet. We worked with community member Richard Ha. We also worked with KTA and Keaukaha Market. And this year, we hope to expand that to a larger community base. And when we were younger, this area of Lehia was full of a houseless community because my father says if you're Hawaiian, then you're not homeless in Hawaii, you're just houseless because Hawaii is your home. And so there was a large houseless community here, and they were actually adept fishermen, because I remember having, rows and rows of throw net at everybody's hale. And it was a large community, and we would come here and we would gather here on the grassy field. And so my dad at that time was trying to organize the houseless community so that they could be a cohesive entity and unit to communicate out to city, county officials and to the state, in hopes that some kind of recognition and resolution could be found. However, that was not found, and the county came in and evicted the entire houseless community. So when we were younger, nobody came in here. Only the houseless community and the Maha community who were living in King's Landing, because we drive through here to go home. And so we knew every family that was here, and we would meet there. We would have meetings, and the sand was much thicker and it was much blacker. It was more black. It's gray now because I believe of the car pollution, because there is constant traffic now in and out of Lehia. When we were younger, there was rarely any traffic, and nobody went to the ponds in the back. There are 2 ponds back there, Lehia, Kavai, and no one ever went back there. We only went in a small group. If our parents were here, they called it Pu'umaile after the hospital when we were younger. And when our parents were at Pu'umaile, only the Pu'umaile kids and the Maha kids or King's Landing kids were at the pond. Now there's no space at the pond. There is always a person there, multiple people there, and they bring their dogs. And so somehow it has turned into an unofficial dog park with people bringing their dogs in and out and swimming in the water. And so that's something that the foundation, the Kelly E. William Ioane Legacy Foundation, wants to reorientate. We want to reorientate the responsibilities and the kuleana, or the functions of these spaces from Lehia, Kione Pupu and La'ie Kavai, and the space here of Lehia. When we first moved here, when the foundation first came here, the area had to be malamad, or cleared again. There were rows and rows of coconuts. There were burned rubber marks. There were rocks all over the field, and there were haphazard planting of plants. And so to reinvigorate the field area for the utilization of makahiki and other community events, all of those things had to be cleared. And so now we have an active yard space. And so in recalibrating and understanding community need, the field was opened up. Mahalo.